Most of us want to be more confident, not the surfacey level ego type of overinflated sense of self that isn't actually real. We want the deep confidence, the solid, secure sense of who we are, the kind of confidence that isn't dependent on everything going perfectly in our lives, that isn't depending on us always succeeding, that isn't dependent on everybody liking us and approving of us. The kind of confidence that is steady, that is stable, that can withstand the ups and downs that come with life. So here I'm going to teach you 5 simple tweaks that when you apply them, you are going to immediately start to feel more confident. The kind of confidence you want, the deep kind, the real kind, the lasting kind. But first, if you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second, introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you are back again, it is always good to have you. Special shout out to my shifters. Really glad that you're here. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, the button's about right down there. If you get something out of this talk, if you could like the video, that would be incredibly helpful. And either way, my name is Kristina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, a speaker, and the creator of my membership community, the Shift Society, where we are taking this work to a deeper level and you are being guided and supported the whole way through. I help heart-centered humans break through the crap that is holding them back so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And some of these things that are preventing us from being more confident, truly deeply confident in who we are, is crap that we have been clinging to without even realizing it. And that crap is holding us back. So the first one, the first little tweak to make to start to become more confident is to work on not letting your past define your present and your future. Many of us have been through difficult things, painful things, brain-shifting things, traumatic things in our past. And we are continuing to let those experiences take up precious real estate in our brains and drive and dictate and define who we are and how we are and what we think and how we show up. I'm not saying it's always easy to move through stuff in the past, but I want to invite you to do the work, to not be satisfied with feeling stuck in the past, with feeling stuck in suffering from things in the past. The past can only exist in our thoughts. And yes, healing and work and working through that stuff is important and oftentimes extremely necessary. But really asking yourself, am I letting my past define too much of my present? Being mindful, how often am I letting past experiences color and taint and create my present experiences? If I could take this experience for what it is without putting past experiences onto it. So let's say that you are in a new relationship and the last relationship did not go well and you got your heart broken. Really painful, really difficult thing to endure. But are you bringing that into your present relationship? Are you making that hold you back or keep you from loving, from giving, from experiencing something that could be really great if the thing you are in right now is really great? Are you giving this person a chance? Are you letting the past person define the relationship with this current person? If you went for a job in the past and it was a job that you really wanted and you thought you did great on the interview, but then you ended up bombing it. You didn't get the job. And now you're going for another job and you have it in the back of your head, I'm going to bomb it again. I'm going to think it's going to be great. And I'm going to end up bombing it, or they're going to think I bombed it, not going to get the job. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to let this past experience define my present circumstances. It's not always easy to do, and we do a lot of work on this in the Shift Society about separating ourselves from the past and letting new experiences be new experiences and coming at them with thoughts that are different than the thoughts that we got from that past experience. That fear or that regret or that shame or that hesitancy that we got from these past experiences, not letting those define our present circumstances. So just asking yourself, is my response in this moment, is how I'm handling this in this moment, how I'm seeing this in this moment, am I allowing myself to see it with fresh eyes? Am I allowing myself to experience this with fresh experience? Or am I letting my past define and describe it? Letting yourself be in this experience, letting yourself be in your life now, letting yourself create the life you want now and in the future, and knowing that your past does not have to define or describe or dictate your now. The next one is to develop a skill. And not insofar as saying like, well, if I have all these skills and I'm going to be confident in myself, I'm going to feel so good that I can do all these things. Actually, the opposite is true. Really honing in and mastering something, really working on something, dedicating yourself to something that you love. It doesn't have to be something for money. And I'd almost suggest that it isn't something for money, at least at first, because then you have all this pressure around it. Just really investing yourself into something that you love, a hobby, an activity, a sport, whatever that is, that you're like, I really want to get good at this, and let yourself get good at that. Let yourself try hard. Let yourself fail. Let yourself come up against roadblocks and challenges in the learning process, and let yourself see what you are made of as you overcome those challenges, as you get back up when you fall down. So much of what we get from having a goal is not about reaching the goal. It's about what we need to overcome in the process, what we need to go through and get through in the process, who and how we are becoming as we struggle, as we persevere, as we invest, and then seeing yourself gain that expertise, gain that knowledge, develop those skills, and being proud of yourself to look at, wow, I did this. I created this. I built this. I developed this. And looking and seeing what your effort has produced, while also being proud of yourself and feeling good about yourself for continuing to put in that effort, no matter what came up along the way. Think about this a lot in my story around becoming a therapist, how I was not rejected from grad school once, but twice, and didn't get into grad school until the third time. And it was hard because I thought that when the clouds opened up and I had this grand realization that my calling in life, my purpose in life was to become a therapist, I thought that that's all it took. But then it took another 4 years of upgrading courses, writing exams, taking big tests, volunteering, building up my resume, and feeling like I put so much time and effort into building up my resume, was so proud of myself for everything that I had done. And then I finally got to apply to grad school because I had a really solid application, and then I got rejected. And then the next year I got rejected again. And I didn't give up, because for me, I was like, you know what? What's the alternative? The alternative, I'm not giving up on this because it took me this long to figure out what I wanted to do. I am not giving up on it. I am going to get back up. Well, first I'm going to crawl on the floor and cry and call out to whatever higher being, why me? Why did this have to happen to me or not happen for me? I worked so hard. It's not fair. I got my grumbling out. I got my complaining out. I got my pain of the rejection out, and then I decided, what do I want to do? Do I want to let these rejections define my path? And if I do not, what am I going to do? I am going to get back up, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get into this, and I believe in this, and I am banking on me for this. And then I went to grad school, and ended up graduating as one of the top of my class with great honors, becoming the class valedictorian, and was able to show myself that, see, this is what happens when you don't give up on yourself. What could happen for you if you didn't give up on yourself? What could you invest in? What could you grow? What could you create? What could you learn? How could you expand if you didn't give up on yourself? And knowing even the act of not giving up on yourself builds that confidence, because you are building that trust in yourself. You are banking on yourself. And it's really hard to not feel really good about someone who is banking on us. So be that person who banks on you. The next thing, going a little bit deeper, just cut yourself some slack. Let yourself be human. Let yourself be a human being who makes mistakes, who screws up, who fails, who sometimes fumbles their words or says the wrong thing or puts their foot in their mouth. Just let yourself be an imperfect being. So often we think that we have to become perfect in order to be confident. But then it becomes this hamster wheel cycle, because we don't even know what perfect is. We just know that there's this place somewhere out there that is perfect. It's this perfect fantasy, this perfect me fantasy that we are stuck on, and we don't know how to get there or really what it looks like. All we know is we're not there yet, and so we can't feel confident until we are. Do you see how this cycle keeps going? But what if being truly confident is about letting yourself be imperfect? What if being truly confident is accepting yourself for who you are now? That there's nowhere to get to. There's not something else that you need to become. There's not someone else that you need to become before you are allowed to feel good about yourself. When it comes to putting the effort in, try your hardest, do your best, show up in how you are able to show up in whatever way you are able to show up in that moment, and accept that ups and downs and backs and forths and crashes and burns are part of being human. And if you can agree to accept yourself and be kind and compassionate towards yourself no matter what, then you are going to build that deep sense of confidence. Let yourself be wrong. Let yourself not know and say, I don't know. Do you know how much confidence it takes for someone to say, I was wrong? I don't know. I'm sorry. Genuinely, I'm sorry. Not the avoidance of responsibility, shame-based sorry that's like, oh, I'm sorry that I'm always failing you. I'm sorry I'm never going to be good enough. That's not a real sorry. But genuinely being sorry. Do you know how much confidence that takes? Yeah. The next one. Become intentional with how you respond. So many of us are going through life reacting unconsciously to things that are happening around us. It just as a microcosm of this, a really obvious example of this is social media. Common sections on social media where people are so quick to come after other people, to judge other people, to name call other people, to get triggered and then react really unkindly, cruelly, meanly, judgmentally, immaturely. There are a lot of unmanaged minds on social media. But those unmanaged minds can become more managed and more confident when we take a step back, when we take a breath. So maybe it's not social media for you. Maybe it's when you're talking to your partner and they say something that triggers you. Or you're at a family gathering and someone asks you about your job, your relationship status, your weight, whatever it is in your life that you're like, that is not okay with me. Maybe it's at work. Someone undermines you or kind of talks down to you in a meeting. What do you do with that? How do you respond to that rather than react to that? Becoming confident really is about becoming more conscious, being able to take a step back, take a break, take a breath, take a minute, and get curious about what's coming up for me, Why is this bothering me? And how do I want to consciously, mindfully, and intentionally respond to this circumstance in a clear, kind, and classy way? All three being clear, kind, and classy. And when we learn how to find our voice and speak up and communicate in a clear, kind, and classy way, that builds our confidence because we are managing ourselves and we are staying grounded within ourselves instead of losing control and going crazy and then regretting it, beating ourselves up, feeling guilt and shame about it afterwards. Be intentional. Take a breath, take a break, take a beat before you do anything or say anything. Another one that we don't think of. Get to know yourself better. Think about how well you know yourself right now. And if it's like, I don't know myself that well, if you're like, I don't really know what I like, I don't really know what I think, I don't really know what my opinions are, I don't really know how I feel about myself, or if I do know how I feel about myself, it's not good. I don't really know what makes me me, and which is such an interesting thing for so many of us. And there's so many of us who don't know these things, but when you think about it, you are the only person who has to live with you from the moment you are here and on this planet until the moment you leave it. But it never occurs to us, or we never learned to invest in getting to know this person, in understanding this person, in listening to this person, paying attention to this person. What do you like? What don't you like? What do you like to do? What would you like to do in a group of people? What are your thoughts? What are your preferences? What brings you joy? What makes you scared? What makes you feel loved and connected? What makes you feel alone and disconnected? What is it that makes you tick? What is it that ticks you off? If I had a day all to myself and I could do anything, what would I do? Who would I see? Where would I go? What would I eat? Who would I meet? Really asking yourself these questions. And it is surprising how many of us don't know these things. I didn't know these things about myself for years. I didn't know how to pay attention to and listen to myself and really just like see what was going on inside me, what I was drawn to, what I was repelled from, who I was drawn to, who I was repelled from, what made me feel alive, what made me feel like gouging out my eyeballs out of confusion, overwhelm, or boredom. Really taking the time to get to know yourself. You don't have to become something or someone else in order to be confident. You have all of these things that I talked about inside of you already. Paying more attention to them, being more intentional with them is all that it takes. And you can start today. I want to ask you now, and I want you to tell me in the description, which one of these are you going to start today? Which one of these really stood out for you? Which one of these are you like, oh, I see that and I'm going to, not I need to. You don't need to do anything. I am choosing to start this one, start working on this one, being intentional about this one, integrating this one into my being. And it starts with one step, one shift, one choice, and we go from there. And that is all that it takes to become more confident, more clear, more centered, more grounded in who you are, in those real ways that really matter. The only thing that makes confident people special is they know they do not have to be special before they can be confident. Always good to have you here. Let me know which one you are going to start with, the one that connected with you, in the comment section below. Would love to hear from you. Till next time, take good care of yourselves. Take good care of those around you. Bye for now.